Khalil Mack will play in 2025. Whether it's with the Chargers, yet to be determined. Jared Vanderbilt plans to return to the Lakers on Saturday, and a scribe fantasizes about a world where the Dodgers miss the playoffs. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos Morning Report. It is January 23rd, 2025. I am spending my birthday in Portland for work. In case you're wondering, I'm 157 years old, which kind of sucks. It does. Sometimes it hurts to go to the bathroom, but that's neither here nor there. What's great is we added a new subscriber to the Angeleno Familia. Thank you for getting in on the ground floor. We're going to do our best to keep you informed. And if you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment. Now, before we go through the news and notes, look at the scoreboard. It was a pretty good night for the Angelenos, starting with Kings 2, Florida 1. Samuel Elenu scores his first NHL goal. Adrian Kempe with the game winner as the Kings rally in the third. Meanwhile, USC 78, Nebraska 73. Desmond Claude scored 21 points for the Trojans. Wesley Yates adds 17. Again, you have to start wondering, is USC figuring it out, right? UCLA lost at Nebraska, true. But now, how bad does that loss really look? The Cornhuskers are now on a 5-game losing streak. So, which local team is better? We're going to have a good glimpse on Monday. USC and UCLA will battle it out. Meanwhile, today, Boston is at the Lakers at 7. You know, it's a heated rivalry spanning many, many decades. Nothing quite like this to remind me that I am no longer young. Everything today will remind me of creeping death. Yes, if you were wondering. And Washington is at the Clippers at 7. James Harden is questionable with a groin injury. And we at Faithful Angeleno Sports have a very strict do not discuss men's groins in detail policy. So, we'll get to the news. Khalil Mack is returning to the NFL in 2025. Whether that's with the Chargers remains to be seen, but from initial indications, it seems like a fait accompli. The 34-year-old edge rusher, who is a 9-time Pro Bowler, hasn't said a single cross word about his time in powder blue, but he would be an unrestricted free agent for the first time in his career. Now, why is it unlikely that he's going to leave? Well, there's mutual interest, obviously. Team Brass has said they want to resign him. And yeah, you could be a cynic like me and say, well, the Chargers have never won a Super Bowl. But Mack has spoken glowingly about the Bolts' resurgence under Jim Harbaugh. Quote, "It was a special year, understanding what he has done in the short time he has been here and the potential in the building. The growth is inevitable. It was impressive what we were able to do and squeeze out," unquote. Now, despite his age, Mack is still going to be a blue chip commodity. His 107.5 sacks since entering the NFL in 2014 are the third most over that span. The dude can absolutely bring it, even now. But to lure Mack out of Los Angeles would mean you have to be a Super Bowl contender with enough cap space to offer him something comparable or better money and live in a town his family likes, I would presume. ESPN is taking LeBron James's annual plea for more to come to the Lakers, and they are amplifying it because you have to have enough topics for Stephen A. Myth to generate fake outrage over. It's become a thing. And it's become a thing for whatever team LeBron plays for, and we've had to deal with it in LA for a couple of years now. If you're like me and you go to a Catholic church, you may have thought that the holy season culminated with Christmas, but you would be wrong. Being a Laker fan extends the holy season of sacrifice into February with LeBron's annual cries from his self-perceived ritualistic martyrdom. Oh, keep thy holy word, and have the three not-so-wise people, Palinka, Buss, and Johnson, arrive at my manger with gifts of a playmaking guard, a 3-and-D wing, and a defensive center. So, just to briefly revisit what the Lakers have, there's a lot of tradable contracts and a couple of first-round picks that they have held on to for dear life. But there is a major reason why the Lakers have not made an additional move after acquiring Dorian Finney-Smith. And that is the looming return of forward Jared Vanderbilt, which is going to be Saturday at Golden State. The dude hasn't played in almost an entire year. He sprained his right foot at Boston on February 1st. He wound up having surgery on both feet in May, and his return was delayed even further due to fluid in his knee. Now, if you recall, because it has been a while since we've seen that dude on a court, he played a major role in a playoff run for the Lakers 2 years ago. He's a defensive-minded 3-and-D guy, more D than 3. Matter of fact, I would say damn near no 3. Should he be effective in his comeback, and there's not a lot of time to find out how effective he's going to be, you may be looking at a reshuffling of the Lakers' rotation as well as a rethinking of what they would want or what they would be willing to give up in trade. So, LeBron, just a little bit longer now. Shh. There have been a lot of predictable opinions in light of the Dodgers offseason. Have they ruined baseball? Is this good for baseball? All of it formulaic, all of it predictable. There's nothing new under the sun. But CBSSports.com tried to think outside the box, and in so doing, they showed us they don't know how to think in the first place. If you're going to think outside the box, it is a precursor that you think. So this is their thesis statement. Hey, don't you worry none about this offseason for the Dodgers, because not only is this team beatable, there's no guarantee the Dodgers will make the playoffs. The scribe who wrote this, R.J. Anderson, admits that the scribes have an annual brainstorming sesh on that very topic. Presumably, they either go to a hookah bar or maybe they grab a hay bale of your finest strand of sativa and just chuck that thing in the fireplace and just brainstorm. Because I don't know I do not know how high you have to be in order to create a world where the Dodgers don't make the playoffs. I'm not saying they're going to win it all again. They very well could, but not make the playoffs? I mean, you do realize that the Dodgers get ravaged by injuries every single year and still make the playoffs? You almost have to go back to when I still had hair to remember when the Dodgers didn't make the playoffs. So they came up with 4 reasons. The first one was, of course, the injury bug. No. The following Dodgers starting pitchers are currently on the injured list: Emmett Sheehan, Dustin May, River Ryan, Tyler Glasnow, Gavin Stone, and Shohei Ohtani. Wow. How will the Dodgers ever survive that onslaught? Glad you asked, because they have Blake Snell, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Roki Sasaki. Should I continue? You add any 2 pitchers to that list of the ones who can go, and you still have a damn good 5-man rotation. Like, for example, Glasnow and Gonsolin, who are recovering. Injuries on the Dodgers. Yeah, we have seen that movie before. We know the ending. They get to the playoffs. That was their best argument. The second argument is, what if the bullpen sucks? Are you really willing to put money on the following people all sucking simultaneously? Tanner Scott, Michael Kopech, Blake Trinan, Alex Vesia. I mean, these arguments become increasingly absurd. What if all their stars simultaneously decline? Does anybody really believe that Mookie Betts, Shohei Ohtani, and Freddie Freeman are going to simultaneously faceplant like it's a Three Stooges skit. Anybody? And then the fourth reason other teams get lucky. Luck. The final argument of the utterly desperate. The scribe is using the 2021 Giants as an example because they won the division, which is true, but the Dodgers still made the playoffs, dude. And then, by the way, they eliminated Suck Francisco in the playoffs. So, quick memo to CBS Sports. Feel free not to waste our time like that. Anything can happen in the playoffs. It's no guarantee the Dodgers are winning the title. They're making the playoffs. That's a wrap. Stop it. Drew Doughty is not only practicing with the Kings, he can go through full contact and will accompany the team on its upcoming 5-game road trip. Doughty is a sure-time Hall of Famer, 2-time Stanley Cup winner. He broke his ankle during a preseason game in October. Matthew Stafford's wife, who can't stop airing her husband's private life for podcast clicks, said the Rams quarterback ended the season with broken ribs. The ribs were allegedly cracked in week 15 against Scum Francisco, and he toughed it out. He wasn't even listed in injury reports for the Rams because, again, podcast clicks for the wife, way over an accurate injury report. Secret to a happy marriage. Or at least in this case, your wife not dumping you so she can go chase clout somewhere else. Obviously, the injury was aggravated in the playoffs, which is not exactly shocking, considering you're playing football against a pretty large defensive line in a snowstorm. Now, Sean McVay praised Stafford now that the cat was let out of the bag. Quote, "He represents so many things that are right about what this team became, especially for a city that's hurting. I think he epitomizes a lot of the stuff that's right at him in terms of toughness, resilience, ability to overcome adversity. He's a total freaking stud, and I thought he was outstanding tonight with the opportunities he was given. I'm damn sure proud of Matthew Stafford," unquote. And it matters because we start having to consider the Rams offseason. If you remember, it was not that long ago when the Rams' immediate defense of their Super Bowl title a couple of years ago was to faceplant like Ric Flair. But the franchise has rebounded admirably. They nailed 2 consecutive drafts, completely rebuilt both lines, found a potential franchise player in Jared Verse, an elite receiver in Puka Nacua. I would even argue that 13 of the guys that the Rams drafted in the last 2 years have made an impact of some sort. But not everything has come up roses, signing Jonah Jackson. He was part of a $65 million makeover in the offensive line. That idea should have worked. Didn't. So the LA Times is suggesting 5 steps for the Rams to become a Super Bowl contender. And they can't think either because 4 of those steps are utterly obvious. They have to nail their 3rd consecutive draft, to which I would say, duh. Cooper Kupp status, extending Kyron Williams, okay. But is that really improving the team or is it maintaining the status quo? Your thesis is how to get them to a Super Bowl. One idea that I have to say is compelling is determining if Stafford will remain a quarterback. We'll have to see how he feels after the ribs mend, because if he retires, those Super Bowl chances pretty much drop into the abyss. You know one thing that's consistent, by the way, about the grading of the upcoming draft class? That the quarterbacks this year are not nearly as good as the one in the last year's class. So replacing Stafford in the draft, I don't see it. Not this year. The only point of what the Times wrote that I found interesting is, how do you approach the offensive line? Right? What about, say, Alaric Jackson, a tackle who's a free agent? What do you lose by cutting him? Or could you theoretically shuffle somebody out to one of the tackles? Because again, Alaric Jackson's a free agent, but he's not elite. For that matter, Joe Noteboom isn't elite either. Now, we did mention the draft a few moments ago and how they're probably not going to go after a quarterback. The Rams have 6 picks, starting with number 26 in the first round. If the quarterback class is not elite, maybe you don't trade up. What I have seen by going through multiple mock drafts is that they suggest there'll be a run on offensive tackles right around where the Rams choose. Maybe you take a tackle there. Maybe you even trade back to see if you could land 2. I don't know. But that's basically my thought process there. Angel City FC will open the NWSL season at BMO Stadium against Angel. Look at all these initials in soccer. Angel City FC will open the NWSL season at BMO Stadium against San Diego Wave FC on March 16th. I love soccer, but can we agree there's way too many initials in that sport? Anyway, the team is currently training under an interim coach, Sam Laity, so they've got to figure out how the rest of the team is going to function before they take that pitch. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me, for example. How much of it do you believe that Khalil Mack is returning to the Chargers, and can he actually get them to a Super Bowl? For that matter, are you sensing Jared Vanderbilt could be the answer for what's been a kind of a hit and miss Lakers season? And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Cortel Queso production. Take care.